everyone, and welcome to a new reading vlog. It is that time. I actually meant to do this last week and I've been in such a reading slump, but it is finally time to do another What's in a Name reading vlog, and for this week we're going with Zhao. My last name, Chelsea Zhao, that is my channel name, and yeah, today's Thursday. I meant to start this on a Monday. Not this Monday, last Monday. It didn't happen. Like I said, I've been really slumpy, so we're gonna just change the time of this a little bit because we are still planning on reading 3 books in about a week, which I have not done in like 2 months. I've been so off my game, but we have 3 different books, all by authors with the last name of Zhao. Now this is my married name. I did 2 other What's in a Name vlogs already, one for Chelsea and one for my actual maiden name, which was Greer. Greer was not the best reading vlog, not as many good books. Chelsea was pretty good, and I'm really expecting to like these ones, probably also because it is a name that I picked for myself. Like, I decided to change my name when I got married. I did not have to do that. It is not something that happens in Chinese culture. Like, you do not really change your name when you get married. Like, so my mother-in-law, she is not a Zhao. She's not. That is just not what it is. My husband is, my son is. I decided I wanted to change my last name, so I did. But because I picked it, I almost feel like I have a higher propensity to potentially like the books that we're gonna read because I chose to be in this family. I chose to have this last name. We will be talking a little bit more about the last name and like the origins and all this kind of stuff that we did last time and the time before as we get further into the vlog. But for right now, I just wanted to introduce the books and the authors that I'm going to read this week because I'm very, very excited. So the first one I have here is actually the book that I've had the longest, and it's going to be Blood Heir by Amelie Wen Zhao. This is one that I received in a book box couple years ago, and this is a YA fantasy. I believe it is potentially a like Anastasia retelling. I mean, her name is spelled a little differently. It's Anastacya, but I'm pretty sure some sort of Anastasia retelling. The next book we're gonna read is The Dragon Warrior by Katie Zhao. So this is a middle grade fantasy, I guess sort of like more urban fantasy because of the fact that it's going to take place in our normal world. I'm very excited for this. It is a duology, and I actually have both books, book 1 and book 2. We're only gonna read book 1 this week, but I'm very excited for this as well. And then the last one is the most recent book. The reason it's taking me so long to film this, besides being in a reading slump, like this, actually these books were the reason I wanted to do the What's in a Name, because I knew I had 3 books by authors with the last name of Zhao, and so I wanted to do this. However, this book didn't come out until last month, and it's Iron Widow by Shiren J. Zhao. So yes, we're gonna read this one as well. This is a sci-fi, sort of. It has mechas. It's going to take some Chinese historical figures and bring them into a futuristic setting. It's not going to be like strictly Chinese history or anything like that. It's going to be very interesting, very unique. I've heard a lot of people love this. And so those are the books we're going to read. I think I'm going to read them in the order that I showed you just because I think I am currently the most excited about Iron Widow, and I don't want to just speed through that and then feel bogged down at the end in case I'm not as interested in those other books. I want to sort of start off with ones that I've had the longest and then work my way up to the one that I'm very, very excited for to give me a little bit of motivation, because like I said, I have been so slumpy lately. So slumpy lately. And so yeah, those are what we're going to read this week. I'm very excited. The next time I talk to you, hopefully I will have started reading my books. Good morning, it is Friday. I did not read anything yesterday. I'm not entirely surprised because I was not feeling that great yesterday, and for me, reading feels like it takes more brain power than just like watching booktube or TV shows or movies that I have watched before. So that's sort of what I did instead, and this morning I need to bake pies for this weekend. So that is what I'm going to be doing, baking pies. However, while things are in the oven, I'm going to sit down and pick up a book and read. 100%. So not while the pie crusts are blind baking, because I'm going to start getting other stuff ready, but when the actual pies are in the oven cooking, I'm going to read. I'm guaranteeing that. Like, you guys need to hold me accountable for it. But yeah, so it's Friday. I talked a little bit yesterday about how I was supposed to be starting this vlog like 2 weeks ago, and yeah, it's just not been happening because of other books I was reading, but now also I just didn't read yesterday, so I do feel a little bit bad about that. I will talk to you guys more once I actually do start reading, and I think I'm going to pick up Blood Heir first. I think that's what I talked about a little bit yesterday. I will read. I just need to get started on the pie stuff, and then I will read. Okay, Presley's watching some coloring stuff next to me, but I did want you to know, pies are done. I did end up reading some while they were cooking. I only ended up reading for like 23 minutes or so, because I had to get, you know, them in there and then get my book and get settled, but I'm currently on page 4041 of Blood Heir. Basically all I know so far is we are following a character named Anastasia, spelled a little differently, and she has some sort of blood magic, and people that do have magics, they are called affinities, but they're viewed as monsters, and she is hiding who she is because she is framed, I believe, for her father's murder and was going to be executed, and I think escaped. And then she went to a prison to talk to one of the con men there, and that's basically where we have gotten so far. Writing style's okay. I'm not like wanting to read right now, but I need to make myself, because there are times where if I don't make myself, I'm just not gonna read for a while. So yeah, that's what we're currently doing. I do have my new bookmark, which is this one here. So it is a Chucky Good Guys interactive bookmark from my friend Kristina, from the Northwest Reader. I will leave all of her stuff linked down below, but she has an Etsy and a Patreon and all that kind of stuff, and this is her newest bookmark that I actually got because I am a patron of hers, but it's interactive in the fact that like it's a box for Chucky, and then like he can come out, and so it does say, "Hi, I'm Chucky, you want to play?" And so we have the two different pieces, and then you can put him back in, potentially. There we go. You can put him back in. So I'm using this one even though it does not necessarily fit the vibes of the book. But yeah, she is somebody that mostly reads horror and stuff, and so a lot of her Etsy stuff and Patreon stuff are based on horror movies, horror books, that kind of thing. And so yeah, this is the newest bookmark. I'm probably going to be using it all week in the books, even though it probably does not fit the vibe for any of them. But yeah, that's what's going on. It is currently 11:30, so I actually think I'm going to try and read a little bit more until lunchtime, just because I'm feeling okay. I started this, and like I said, I'm only like 41 pages in, so I do want to get a little bit more going. Okay, so today is Tuesday. This is what I meant earlier when I was saying that I was in like a reading slump and just very unmotivated. I have not wanted to read. I have been doing filming and editing for the channel, and we've done a lot of like going out and doing errands and that kind of stuff, especially because Thursday is Thanksgiving. So it's just been a lot of stuff going on, and anytime I've had downtime recently, I've just not wanted to do anything. I just wanted to veg out, not use my brain, that kind of thing. So I'm still in the middle of Blood Heir, and I don't think I mentioned where I got up to last time. I did actually get up to chapter 10, page 109 last time, and when I say last time, I literally do mean the last time I talked to you guys. I didn't read Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, and I have not read yet today either. I ended up taking Presley to the park today because it is finally cooling off in Arizona today, even though it is like 2 days from Thanksgiving. is still like the high of 79, but it's overcast today, so it was actually not too bad. But so we went to the park, we had to go to the grocery store, not even for Thanksgiving stuff, we already had that, but like we needed the normal like milk and eggs, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I have not wanted to read. I am hoping to continue with this vlog and get this done, because I don't want to move this vlog into December. I want to do this in November, so we will see how long it takes. I'm going to be trying to read some more Blood Heir right now because I definitely liked what I read so far. Nothing new has really happened since I last talked to you guys. It really is just the whole like Anastasia retelling, us finding out that she has like a power and that kind of stuff. So there is magic in here, and we are trying to figure out who killed her father and like where that person is because she was framed for it. Like that's all we know so far. I didn't mind what I read before. The writing style is pretty good, quite easy to get into from my experience so far. I just have not been in the mood to do like any reading. So that is 100% a me problem. It might also be one of those things where it might be beneficial for me to pick up the Dragon Warrior sooner rather than later, because I was going to read this one first and then that one. However, that's a middle grade, and I do usually find middle grades very quick to read and get into. So I'm gonna try to do more of Blood Heir right now. Actually, Presley's taking a nap. I'm hoping to get some reading done. But if I feel like I'm not very motivated to read this one, maybe I'll switch over to the middle grade, just because usually that's something that is very quick to read. Okay, so we have just finished dinner, and before I ended up having dinner, I did read some in Blood Heir. Finally, I read for almost an entire hour, and I did read over another 100 pages. So I am about halfway through the book now. I'm on page like 220 something out of 440. 440 something, and so yeah, so far again still good, interested in it. I am a little bit like, it's not amazing because of the fact that like all of this is for like revenge and trying to figure out like who killed her father and clear her name and all this kind of stuff, and she has teamed up with Ransom, who is the guy from the prison at the very beginning of the book, and he's also out for like revenge and this kind of stuff. And so far, even though we're halfway through the book, it doesn't really feel like we're going places much. Like they have a plan of like what they're going to be doing and that kind of thing, but we are slowly getting there. Like even when they go through a step of the plan, it doesn't quite feel like they've made much headway in it. But besides that, it is very interesting with like the magic system. There has been a lot of like blood and death and that kind of stuff already as well, which I wasn't fully expecting, except for it is called Blood Heir. Like she has the blood magic affinity, and I think she's the only one that has that, so it is quite rare, that kind of thing. But like I said, I don't feel like the urgency is there. Maybe like their plan, they have a plan, they have what they're going to do, like what the plot, or I guess what the whole plan of the book is, like what the plot is going for, but it doesn't really feel like they've been making good headway in it. Like that's all I can really express that way. But otherwise the writing style is very easy to read, and so for that I'm reading it quite quickly. I don't know if I'm gonna read more tonight because I am very tired. We just had dinner. We're gonna have probably just hang out and chill for a little while and then put Presley to bed. And I've been going to bed not like super early, but like it is definitely one of those things, because I'm in a reading slump, like once I'm in bed I don't really want to do any reading, even though I used to read in bed quite often. So that might be it for today. My Bookly app is saying I have just under 2 hours left of reading this book to be completely finished. So potentially tomorrow, since I'm not really planning on doing much tomorrow because Thanksgiving's on Thursday, maybe I will try to read more of this, potentially finish it. Good morning and happy Wednesday. So it's not even 11 yet and I have officially finished a book. Finally, right? So I actually read, I think, over 200 pages of this in like an hour and a half. I will say I skimmed a little bit of like the descriptions of stuff, and I think I'm gonna end up giving this like a 3.5 stars. The writing was pretty good. and I did have some issues with like, what are we actually doing in this book, like I mentioned yesterday. And then we have some like relationship potential, beginnings of romance maybe type of stuff, but I didn't really feel a connection to the characters. We also had quite a few deaths and things in this, like it was actually quite dark, but again, I wasn't really feeling a connection to any of the people that died either. Like I didn't feel sad about any of it. So I don't know exactly how I feel about that. I do also feel like this was dragged out a little bit. And what I mean by that is this is a duology, and I got to the end of the book, like the last few chapters, and I was like, you know what? We don't need this. This could have been wrapped up in those last couple chapters differently and just had this be a standalone, and I think it would have been better. I'm not entirely sure I'm interested in reading a whole nother book just because I wasn't really feeling the intentions of this one, and then by the time we got to the end and I was like, oh yeah, we're getting to the end, I know where this is going, and then they just kept dragging it out. They made more problems and more issues so that we can have a whole nother book, and I don't think that was necessary. I think this could have been a very good standalone and not a duology. So yeah, I mean, it was not bad. It was very quick to read, very easy to get into, but I did have some like issues of like, why are we telling this story? Now, it is Wednesday, we're going to be having lunch soon, and tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so I don't know how much more reading I'm gonna get done today. However, today I'm actually feeling like I might want to pick up another book just because I'm not too slumpy currently. So I think the next one I'm gonna do is the middle grade, because I did talk about this a little bit yesterday when I was debating what I wanted to do, and middle grades are usually quick to read, like get into the story, read the story. It's like 300 something pages, so it really should not take me that long. So this will be the next plan. However, I don't know exactly when I'm going to start it. I want a little bit of a break. I want some lunch. I do have to edit a video today. So yeah, we shall see. Good morning and happy Friday. So it is currently the day after Thanksgiving. Yesterday was very, very busy, so I don't think I filmed anything, but I did actually start the Dragon Warrior. I'm currently on page like 74 or 75. Presley's asking for baby shark. Here it goes. So yeah, I have started this. It is a middle grade fantasy, and not too much has happened so far. However, I've really been liking the way that they've been setting up the world. So basically it is in Chinatown in San Francisco. So like not anything like too crazy. However, there are like Chinese legends and gods and stuff like that that are sort of like, they're real. Like it's not mythology, it's not legend. It is going to be something that is true. The gods used to walk among people, that kind of stuff. And we're getting into our main character and how she is living in this world in San Francisco. She is mixed, so she is half Chinese, and then she's half, I think they said like Turkish and a couple other things, because her mom was mixed as well. She currently lives with her younger brother and her grandfather, who is called Yeye, which my son has a grandfather called Yeye on my husband's side as well. So they have a lot of that kind of stuff in there, and because it is middle grade, we are getting a lot of sort of terminology and like little things that aren't necessarily like 100% explained, but they are sort of explained to you in a way that like a middle grader would understand what is going on. We're getting a lot of culture. I'm really, really enjoying that so far. And there has been like a sort of prophecy thing, and it looks like our main character is going to be going on a journey. I'm very, very excited for this, but that's all I've read so far, because like I said, yesterday was very, very busy. I'm planning on reading more today, and so I will keep you guys updated. Hello, so it is Saturday. I did not actually really read anything yesterday, even though I talked to you guys about it, but I have read some more of The Dragon Warrior. I'm currently on page 205, and according to my Bookly app, I only have like an hour left, so I actually might finish this tonight, which would be good because I still have one more book to read, and I wanted to get this vlog up this week. I wanted to get it up like 2 weeks ago, and that obviously didn't happen. But, so yeah, this is the middle grade fantasy with like Chinese mythology and gods and goddesses and things like that. And so far I am really enjoying it. It is very, very quick to read. Some of the sentence structure and way it's written is a little bit more simplistic than even I would expect from a middle grade, and I don't mean necessarily simplistic in the way that like it is a middle grade and I'm an adult, and so obviously it's going to be more simplistic than other things I read, but I mean more in the way of it's like this is what's happening, then this is what's happening. Like it doesn't feel like it has as much variety in the sentence structure, but not every single time, just sometimes. Besides that, I'm really enjoying it. There were a couple things that I had to like double check with my husband just because that's easier than looking online. And when I say easier than looking online, like if there are things that are based with Chinese mythology, legends, lore, that kind of stuff, I could always Google it to see how accurate these things are or how many things are made up for the book, but I wanted to see if it's something that he would know. He grew up in China. These are the things that I would expect him to at least have some baseline knowledge about. And he does actually, for a lot of the stuff in the book that I was just sort of like, what is this? Because there was one part about like a demon or something that got its demon evil power because they learned Taoism, and I was so confused, but apparently it's a thing. So yeah, I just wanted to like see if it was like common knowledge. Like would he know what is going on more than me? Like, is this based on things that he would have known? Like, sort of with like Greek mythology with us. Greek mythology is something that we definitely touch on in school, definitely things that we learn, and so anytime I read stuff with Greek mythology, I have a baseline knowledge of those myths automatically when I go into anything new with that. Like, I already know quite a bit of stuff that is like the baseline for those kind of mythologies. So that's what I was sort of curious about. Now, I'm gonna try and finish that later. In a vlog like this, I usually like to give some information about the name that we're going to be using, the name that we're talking about. So here, we're talking about Zhao. And one thing that I did, I'm gonna put you guys down here, I think. One thing that I did with Greer, which is the one that we did last time, which was my maiden name, is look up like how common it was, where it is, the country of origin, that kind of thing. And while I don't think this is going to be a big surprise at all with Zhao, we're gonna do the same thing. So we are currently on For Bears. I will leave this link down below. This is the same website that we used when we did Greer. And if we go down here, it is the 14th most common surname in the world. Approximately 28 million people bear this surname, and it is obviously most prevalent in China, and the highest density is in China as well. And then a user submission, which this is interesting. This is the name of a state in the age of warring states in ancient China. The royal family of the state bore this surname. And so obviously this will have the like spread of everything here. I'm assuming obviously here, the most red one, although when I hover over it, it turns to like this dark purpley color, is obviously China. And then it looks like we also have a pretty high density in the United States and Canada, as well as Australia, and some of the countries here. Spain, interesting, France, Germany, England. So that's like the most common, I guess, obviously in China, and then in some of the bigger countries as well. And then this one I thought was very interesting. So they have these sort of like, I don't know, some stats, I should say. It looks like based on maybe 2014, just because I see that over here, these are the stats we have. So China has like 28 million. Frequency is 1 in 49. And then we have Taiwan, Thailand, United States, Singapore, Hong Kong, Canada, Australia, Spain, etc. Although I do see Macau down there as well. And then I know I talked about this with my husband previously, not on this vlog, but just in general, the meaning of the name. And it doesn't really have a meaning in the sense that a lot of, like, when parents name their children, like whatever their first name is, they sometimes figure out like a meaning of a name, and like they like what the meaning is, so they assign it that way. Actually, parents in China do this as well, a lot of them. You figure out what meaning a certain name would have, and like that is part of why you give it to your child. But also, surnames can have meanings, but Zhao is basically just a family name, and the character for Zhao is the character for the family name. And so I'm going to exploit my husband right now and have him write out the surname in Chinese for us. There we go.
Should I wear the traditional one?
There's a traditional one too, so he's gonna do both. Nice. So one way I know, because I'm not very good with characters, but the one way I know this is Zhao is because it has this swoop at the bottom that whenever I see it, especially with my husband writing it out, it always reminds me of like the bottom part of a Z, and so for me, that's how I know. Hello everyone, happy Sunday. So I actually did finish the Dragon Warrior last night. I am a little bit conflicted on it. I didn't really know what I wanted to rate this, and so I was trying to compare it to the previous book, Heir, and I feel like even though they are very different stories, different age groups, that kind of thing, I think I might actually be giving it the same rating of a 3.5. I did talk a little bit about some of the issues I had earlier, being the like writing and sentence structure. Again, there were just some parts that were very short sentences after very short sentences after very short sentences, and it would just feel too jolty and like too abrupt and take me out of the story. So that happened again, not every single time. That was not the overall way of it, but like half the time maybe. It was a very weird sentence structure thing. I did like the different mythologies and that kind of stuff in here, but then again, we had like 3 different tasks our main character had to do, and some of them I liked a little bit better than others. Some of them felt very like abrupt. Again, like it was just like it was over too fast. I was wishing for a little bit more, and then we got to the ending and I did not like it. This is a duology. I have the second book, so I will read it eventually. But like the way it ended, I don't know, it didn't feel like it felt like it should go with the book. A character made some decisions that I was not happy with in general. Like I was just like, how are we actually making these decisions right now? And so I was just getting a little bit frustrated and mad at the end of the book. But it's not a bad thing. I definitely think this is written maybe for a younger audience. Like even though this is middle grade, maybe a younger middle grade audience than an older one. And I do, again, really like the inclusion of all the mythology and goddesses and gods and like that kind of stuff. Like it was so good. They even have a glossary and stuff in the back, so it has more information on certain things that they mentioned in the book. Like that I think was really well done. And now I have one book left, which I did save for last. One, because I felt it was the one that I was looking forward to the most. It's also the one that's been getting the most like high ratings recently. Like everybody seems to love this. I'm gonna go into it with expectations low, just because I don't want to have them too high and have it not live up to my expectations. But this is also going to be a little bit more sci-fi than fantasy, which I do love. So I'm very excited to get into this. The only thing is, because it's taken me so long to film this vlog, I only really have like 2-ish days to read this before I want to put this vlog out and be done with reading for November. Like we are getting to the end of November. And so yeah, I'm gonna start this today because I finished the other book last night, and hopefully I will get a good chunk read today, and then we will be able to move into tomorrow with this. One thing I did want to mention, mostly just because I thought it was cool, this is the character of my last name that my husband did yesterday, and this book is from Illumicrate, so we do actually have it signed, but it came with a signed bookplate as well. I don't know exactly why, but one thing that I didn't notice until he did this is they decided to sign their name with the character for Zhao, but the like X part of it is also in their first name, because that. I just thought it was really cool the way they decided to do the actual signature on the bookplate. I just had to show you guys. Good morning and happy Monday. So I am in the middle of Iron Widow. I'm currently on page 170, so like getting halfway through there. And I'm really enjoying this book so far. It is very unique. It is a sort of like sci-fi type of story because they mention the mechas and potential alien type of creatures that they're fighting. I think they did mention that they are pretty sure they're from outer space, but I don't know the full like origins of them. But it's very unique in the way that they're showing how they pilot the mechas and stuff too. So you have to have like a guy and a girl, and one thing in this world, even though it's futuristic, it's not based on like Chinese history, even though it is taking Chinese historical figures and putting them in this world. It is very like a sexist society. The guys are allowed to touch technology and stuff where the girls aren't really able to do that. Our main character is a like portrayal of the only like female emperor in China, and she even has like bound feet, even though that's not like a true fact from what I understand of back when she actually was emperor. Like that wasn't in the right time period. However, they have a lot of those sort of like more traditional elements in here because they want the women to seem demure and to sort of have to depend on guys, that kind of stuff. But when they pilot the ships, a lot of the times, whoever the women are, they die because they're in that sort of position where the men are very dominating. And our main female character of Zetian basically is going into the army to help pilot these chrysalises, which is what they're called for the mechas, because her sister had enlisted and died, and she did not die in battle apparently, so it seems like her sister was murdered and she wants to go and get revenge. So that's what the beginning of the book was. Like we actually get a lot of action stuff even before page 100. Like it really sucked me in. I'm really enjoying the different characterizations of the main characters as well. Like we're getting a lot of depth to the characters, but the main thing that I just am so interested in is the different ways that they have the like how you pilot the chrysalis is portrayed, because again, it's not something that I expected at all, but I'm really interested. I definitely want to finish this today because it's Monday and this video is supposed to go up on Tuesday. That's my plan. So I have a couple hours left at least, maybe even close to 3 hours left of this book before I am finished. So my main goal today is going to be reading this and then editing this vlog so that it will go up sooner rather than later. Well, good morning. It is Tuesday morning. Actually, after when this vlog should have gone up, so I'm gonna have to move this a little bit. But I did finish this last night, quite late last night, but I absolutely loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. It was very interesting. Like I talked about how they have like the different piloting aspects and that kind of stuff, and it's very much also focused on like what being a girl is. There were so many good quotes about like not being what certain people want you to be just because they're family or men or that kind of stuff. Like it was just so good. I got attached to the characters like so much. It was very much a character driven story as well as the action and fighting and battles and that kind of stuff. And the ending, the last like 100 pages probably, I was absolutely hooked. Like I want to reread this again. Like I want, especially that end part, like I want to go through it again. There was just so much happening. It was so well done. There was an ending to this, but it is sort of cliffhangery because of the fact that this is the first book and I think a duology. I could be wrong, but now I desperately need the next book because like, oh, this was so good. Like this was something that I could actually imagine as like a TV show. I know sometimes people don't like adaptions for books, and like I completely understand that as well, but this would work perfectly as like a TV show. There were so many times where I was like, this would be a perfect episode and this is an amazing climax and like all that kind of stuff. Like it was just so good. 5 out of 5 stars. Might be one of my favorite books of the year. I have actually quite a few 5 stars that I need to go through within the next month to sort of figure out what my lists for that are going to be, but phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I love it. So that is it for the Zhao vlog. 3 books, none of them below a 3.5, which is actually pretty good. So I had some mixed feelings on the other 2 books, but this one was a full 5 stars. And yeah, I think that was a really good vlog to do. These are the books that I actually originally wanted to do when I first thought of this type of vlog, but obviously I had to wait for Iron Widow to come out, and I'm not mad about that. But one thing that I was thinking about as I was reading these is that I've done now 3 different vlogs of What's in a Name, and the ones that I think I liked the best, like overall, are these ones. The ones that I did for Chelsea, I had 2 pretty darn good ones and 1 not good one. And then the ones that I did for Greer, I think more of them were misses than hits. And I think it's interesting just because, like, this is a name that I technically chose for myself. I didn't have to change my name when I got married, but I did. And I wonder if that helped a little bit compared to the other 2 names being names that I was given when I was born. So I'm attached to those names, but I didn't get to choose them. So I don't know if there's any possibility that that has a difference or not. I mean, there's no scientific reasoning behind any of this whatsoever. But I did think it was interesting that this round, I think, had the best outcomes of books, and it was based on a name that I chose for myself. So that is going to be it for me today. This vlog is going to go up a little later than I was originally hoping for, but I hope you guys like it anyway. And if you do, give it a thumbs up to let me know, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!